I grew up in a polite little Midwest suburb where everyone's lawns matched and people waved at you from their driveways whether they liked you or not. We were the neighborhood's golden family. Golden house, golden smiles, golden reputation, and most importantly, the golden child, my older brother, Alex. Alex was the sun. The rest of us were lucky planets caught in orbit. Our living room walls were practically a museum of his greatness, trophies, medals, certificates. My personal favorite, though, hung in my parents' bedroom, an actual American flag with Alex's face photoshopped into it. Dead serious. It was their Christmas card that year. I realized how deep the delusion ran on my 8th birthday. Mom and Dad were too busy helping Alex with his science fair project to notice. When they finally remembered that night, they dragged out his leftover baseball team cake, "Congrats, Tigers," still written across it, and stuck 8 candles in it, like that fixed everything. I laughed because I didn't know what else to do. That night, sitting at the table with half-melted candles dripping onto frosting that wasn't even for me, I learned my role. I wasn't the sun. I was the light switch. That phrase, "make do," was my lullaby growing up. When I made honor society in middle school, Mom smiled distractedly and said, "That's nice, honey," while flipping through Alex's robotics acceptance letter. When I won a regional photography contest, my parents missed the ceremony to take Alex, who was a sophomore, to tour colleges he wouldn't apply to for 2 more years. My room looked like a garage sale. Alex's was a tech showroom. I got hand-me-downs, half-working gadgets, and clothes that just need a little patching. When I asked for a guitar for Christmas, Mom handed me Alex's old one and said, "You'll grow into it." I was 12. The neck was longer than my arm. "Make do, Jake." That's what she said, always. By college, the difference between us wasn't even subtle. Alex went to a private university on a full parental scholarship. Tuition, housing, spending money, you name it. I got, "We can cover half your first semester at state. You'll need to figure out the rest. We're still paying off Alex's loans." So I did. I worked 2 jobs, slept maybe 4 hours a night, lived on microwavable noodles. The irony was I still graduated on time, with honors even. I called home to share the news, and Mom said, "That's nice, honey. Did you hear Alex got promoted to junior manager?" It wasn't even jealousy at that point. It was exhaustion. Then came Alex's wedding to Josephine. They had the Midwest fairy tale, barn venues, string lights, designer tuxes, 250 guests, and a live band that charged more than my rent. My parents took out another loan after swearing for years they couldn't afford to help me with school. When I said I was struggling to balance best man duties and work deadlines, Mom said, "I thought by now you'd know we really don't care." She meant it as a joke, but you know how sometimes people reveal the truth by accident? Yeah. After that, the hits just kept coming. The twins were born. Adorable, loud, chaos in tiny sneakers, and somehow I became the default babysitter. Just for a few hours turned into whole weekends. Every Saturday, my apartment turned into a toy store explosion. I loved those kids. Still do. But love doesn't mean letting people step all over you. One Sunday, Alex showed up at 7 a.m., twins in pajamas, saying we've got a breakfast emergency. I had an important freelance interview at 11, something I'd been looking forward to for weeks. I reminded him. He waved it off. "I'll be back by 10:30. He returned at 2. I missed the interview. When I told him, he shrugged. "Family comes first, Jake." Apparently, family meant I sacrificed everything for theirs. After that, I decided I needed a break. Not a metaphorical one, a real one. I spent nights scrolling through travel sites until I found it. A quiet resort on the Carolina coast. Simple, peaceful, no distractions. So, on Sunday dinner, I mentioned it casually. "Mom, I'm taking a solo vacation in June." Her eyes lit up like she'd won something. "Oh, that's perfect. We should all go together." Alex grinned. Josephine started planning. The twins screamed, "Beach with Uncle Jake!" And just like that, my solo vacation turned into a family reunion with built-in babysitting. That night, I lay awake staring at the ceiling fan, and for the first time in my life, I thought, what if I just didn't tell them? So I didn't. I booked a different resort, Remote island, tiny airport, no cell service, and packed in secret. The guilt was immediate, but it felt right, like exhaling after holding my breath for 30 years.
The morning of the trip, I got to the airport early. I watched from a distance as my family arrived, Mom fussing with paperwork, Dad complaining about baggage fees, Alex wrangling the twins. They looked happy, content. They had no idea. I walked the opposite way, through security, and boarded my own flight. As the plane took off, my phone buzzed like it was possessed. Texts, calls, voicemails. "Where are you? The boys are crying. How could you do this to us?" I turned it off and watched clouds swallow the ground. For the first time in years, nobody needed me. Nobody expected anything. It felt like stepping into sunlight after decades underground. And yeah, there was guilt, a mountain of it. But underneath, something new was stirring. Freedom. The resort was small, wooden huts, ocean breeze, staff who actually smiled. My first night, I sat by the beach with a drink that tasted like vacation and realized I didn't know what to do with myself. I kept checking the time, thinking, this is when the twins nap. This is when Mom calls. Every kid laughing nearby made me twitch. But by day 3, the noise inside me quieted. I tried surfing, fell on my face repeatedly. It was glorious. I joined a morning yoga class full of strangers who didn't care who I was. I had dinner with a marine biologist named Marcus, who told me about sea turtle rescues and bad airline food. After 5 days, I turned my phone back on. 58 voicemails, over 200 texts. Mom's tone evolved from worried to furious to guilt-trippy. Alex's were worse. "You've ruined everything." Then there was one from Dad. "Just tell us you're safe, son, even if I don't get it." That one broke me a little. I texted, "I'm safe and taking time for myself. Please respect my space." Then I muted them all. For the rest of the trip, I read, walked, wrote. I realized how quiet life could be when you weren't constantly bracing for someone else's need. One night, an older waitress asked if I liked traveling alone. When I told her a condensed version of my story, she said, "Honey, family's important, but so are you. Sometimes loving yourself means disappointing people who never learned how to see you." I almost cried right there over my seafood pasta. When I came home, I didn't go straight to my apartment. I got a hotel room 2 blocks away, neutral ground. I needed time to breathe before facing the fallout. I changed my locks, updated my work info, wrote down actual boundaries like they were commandments. Rule number 1, no unannounced visits. Rule number 2, no guilt trips disguised as family bonding. Rule number 3, my time is mine. They found out I was back when I liked a coworker's post online. Within hours, Mom and Alex were buzzing my apartment intercom like a fire drill. I watched them from my hotel window across the street. It was surreal, like watching a play I used to star in but no longer recognized. I texted, "Café Lumiere, tomorrow at 2. Just Mom, Dad, and Alex. Non-negotiable." I got there early, heart pounding like it wanted to escape. The place smelled like espresso and rain. When they arrived, Alex, of course, dragging Josephine despite my request, I raised a hand before anyone spoke. I'm setting boundaries, and they're not up for debate. They looked at me like I'd started speaking another language. The next 2 hours felt like a lifetime. Alex cried about how I traumatized the twins. Mom went full guilt mode. "After everything we've done for you." Josephine tried to mediate. "Maybe you could babysit every other weekend." Every other weekend. As if cutting my servitude in half made it generous. I pulled up my phone calendar. 93 weekends. That's how many I've watched the twins since they were born. That's not helping out. That's unpaid parenting. Mom blinked. "But that's what family does." "No," I said, "that's what people choose to do. I never chose." Then I laid it all out. Every forgotten birthday, every missed ceremony, every penny borrowed for Alex's emergencies. The table went silent, except for the hum of the espresso machine. I asked them quietly, When's the last time you sacrificed anything for me? Not convenience, something that actually cost you. Nobody answered. Alex said, "Family means sacrifice." "Exactly," I said. "So tell me one time you sacrificed for me." He couldn't answer. He stood up, red-faced. "You're being dramatic." "For once in my life, I'm being honest." He stormed out. Josephine hesitated, then followed. Mom stared at her coffee. "We didn't mean to make you feel invisible," she said, voice cracking. "I know, but you did, and I let you because being quiet was easier." I asked her, "Do you even know my favorite food? What I do for work? What I'm afraid of?" She opened her mouth, then closed it again. Tears slipped down her cheeks. "I don't," she whispered. "I don't know those things about my own son." It wasn't an apology, but it was truth. So I told them about my new rules. No more surprise drop-offs. No more emotional manipulation. If they wanted to see me, it had to be planned, mutual, and respected. Dad nodded slowly. "That's fair." "And I'm moving," I added. "I need to find out who I am outside of being Alex's backup." Mom asked, "How long?" "I don't know. Maybe months. Maybe longer." As they left, she touched my arm and said, "I'm sorry. You deserved better." It was imperfect, but real. The next few weeks were hard. Not emotionally explosive, just empty in a way I wasn't used to. My phone was quiet, my weekends were mine. I didn't know what to do with so much silence. So I started small, joined a cooking class, went hiking, said yes to coworkers' invites I used to ignore, built a little world that didn't depend on my family's chaos. Alex showed up at my office once trying to talk. Security escorted him out. He sent me a tearful email accusing me of destroying the family. But Josephine sent a separate email. "We hired a sitter. We should have done it years ago. You deserved better." Dad texted awkward check-ins. Mom oscillated between anger and guilt, leaving voicemails like, "When you're done with this rebellion, come home." She still didn't get it. This wasn't rebellion. This was existence. Then one night, Dad left a message that made me stop cold. "You were right about a lot. I failed you. I can't fix it all, but I see it now. I'm sorry." I listened to it 3 times. It wasn't redemption, but it was something. A door cracked open, maybe. Without constant interruptions, my work flourished. My boss promoted me. I started dating, a concept I'd shelved for years. I learned that anxiety wasn't my personality. It was just survival mode. My therapist told me I had chronic family stress syndrome, which basically means living in fight or flight long enough to forget there's a middle ground. She said, "Now you're teaching your body what peace feels like." She was right. Peace feels weird at first, like standing on solid ground after years at sea. A few weeks later, I got a card from the twins, crayon drawings and all. "We miss you, Uncle Jake." It made me smile and ache at the same time. I wrote back, "I love you both very much. Right now, I'm taking care of myself like when you rest when you're sick. When I'm ready, we'll go to the zoo, okay?" That's love too, teaching them that self-respect isn't selfish. Last weekend, I ran into an old college friend at a bookstore. She looked at me for a long moment and said, "You seem lighter, happier, like you're actually here." That stuck with me. Actually here. Because for so long, I wasn't. I was background noise in my own life. Next week marks 1 month in my new apartment. I'm throwing a housewarming. Small crowd, pizza, beer, laughter. No family obligations. Just people who see me. The real me. Not the backup, not the caretaker, not the nice guy who helps out. Just Jake.